I'll be for you or against you, whichever will help you most.
We just listened to a presentation today, we can't vote on anything. I said, we're just listening to the presentation today, we can't vote on anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I guess technically I'm chair of the day, huh?
You are?
All right. Let me get my,
I didn't get anybody's name, plate. Do I have
Miss
time?
Fanny's gotta leave early, she's sitting in the audience.
this damn chair.
I've locked myself out.
Hole here. Oh, well, as long as, I guess I can,
Pull it, I'll swap you out. You need another one. Just pull that lever on there.
is that the same?
Up and down. It's all the way up.
It's all the way up.
You wanna know?
No, it's all right. I should bring a phone book.
Because you're getting old. That happens to us.
That's exactly right. I lost 2 inches off my head.
Because I keep thinking about it, I was like, dang, why my pants so half ragged?
I wish mine would.
Okay, what do I need to hear? Official zoning map. What the world is that?
I believe we have what was sent. Let's look.
Yes, so it has to go to the two.
I need a,
Okay, so it does have. Okay,
Is that good?
yeah, the next one we're gonna.
Oh, this is for Joseph.
okay.
I'll look it up.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Hey, Charlie,
Here's one right here.
put in the agenda.
Okay. I don't think I got one. This is all. Okay, thank you. Never mind. I'm good.
Well, she's getting us some.
Okay. This is
I saw Steve come in.
a response.
Hey, Steve.
They're still back from conference. Does that help?
Turn it this way so I remember my name.
Yeah, I'll take one, thank you.
I did. Yeah, he gave me one. Yes, so I got it. Thank you, I got one.
Hell, we don't have this many people in our regular meetings.
I know.
We don't have this many people in our regular meetings.
No.
I'm glad this is your problem today, Dick.
Henry County Water's there too.
Girl, these pants used to be 5 inches longer. I put them on this morning.
So we have both Hampton and Henry County.
You're tall.
And the city's gonna be here.
That's exactly.
Brandon's gonna be here.
I'm glad you said that. Said, well, it is raining.
This is mine, Dick.
I was looking for the city of Griffin. Miss Delaney,
It's 9 o'clock. Wait,
You gotta leave early.
you gotta leave early?
wait. 9 o'clock.
Okay. I go say you could be up here.
I'll let him know.
My bad.
Okay. So no Griffin yet, just Hampton and Henry County. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. What a treat. I don't know what we've done, but this is more people than we get at our regular meetings, so it's nice to see so many folks here. I know we have the delegation from Hampton, we appreciate that, and Henry County Water Authority's in in attendance. And there comes Brandon. We have the Griffin Water System, morning Brandon, with us now. So we have 95% of the brains in the entire area right here with us this morning. So welcome. Morning, Gwen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our planning committee is an informal committee. We do not vote on anything here. We listen to whatever is presented, try to make intelligent recommendations on to our full board. And so that's what we're here today. We're here to listen to these presentations and try to work out at the end, maybe we can make a good decision. So, now that we're in order, our first order of new business is the City of Hampton water supply presentation by the City of Hampton. So, who is our presenter and lead? Oh, here we go. All right.
Good morning. How's everybody
Good.
doing?
And you are?
I'm Mayor Ann Tarpley with the City of Hampton. How's everybody doing this morning?
We're wonderful. There was a huge silence here until you opened the door. So.
Well, I am so thankful for you guys taking the opportunity to allow us to present to you this morning. As I stated, I'm Mayor Tarpley with the City of Hampton, and I have a couple of my colleagues here this morning, staff here, along with engineering firms, and we've come to the Spalding County Water Authority Planning Commission to lay out some opportunities for us to partner and see if we can finish up a project that we are actually currently engaging in.
Okay, will you pull your microphone a little bit more toward, just so make sure we pick it up good?
All right.
Thank
Is
you.
that better?
Yeah.
All right. So in 2024, the City of Hampton engaged with Griffin in a water purchase agreement, and we understand that they have an agreement with Spalding County for the delivery of water. So we have a current ongoing project, and that ongoing project requires that is asking that we would provide water a small amount of water or a little water prior to the completion of the upgrades needed for the project. So that ask from the City of Hampton this morning is that we would actually partner with Spalding County Water Authority. Their Sunnyside tank is near our borders in the City of Hampton, and we're asking that they would allow us to connect to that Sunnyside tank to be able to deliver up to 275,000 gallons of water per day. We do have our engineering firms that will come before you guys and show you the plans of how we would like to do this until that entire project is completed. I believe we spoke with Mr. Johnson in regards to after the project is completed, it will still remain connected. However, it would be like, I guess, a redundant operations in regards to if something was to happen to the line that's being brought out of Griffin. So at this time, I would like to introduce Mr. Scott Green of Thomas and Hutton and his partner. If he would come up. Yes. All right. You're on deck.
And I'm sorry, would you give me your name again, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Tarpley. My name's Scott Green. I work with Tom Snutton. We're an engineering firm here locally in Georgia. I work out of our Chamblee office. Work all across the state on private, municipal, and economic development projects all across the state. So we're representing a customer that is in the city of Hampton's customer. And we've been working with the mayor and city staff on a way to service water to the project. We've got a couple different phases that were outlined to the mayor, and I know she has spoken with Mr. Johnson, and we've had several calls with Mr. Johnson and several other City of Griffin Water Authority, water sewer staff members as well. We've got a graphic. I can start at at a big level and then come back in. Is that graphic available?
Yes,
Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. All right, I would really like to go over the TV and point. How can I do that? And
if you speak up.
You
Okay,
gotta
I will.
speak loud.
Okay, I will.
Some of us are 130 years old and don't hear so well.
Yes, sir. Okay. So in this image that you see, north is to the left. Plan north is to the left. So you can see Land Motor Speedway here. You can see the city of Hampton. This is Highway 20, 1941, and then you've got the Henry County, Spalding County line, approximately in this location, and you got the city of Griffin. Is everybody good with the orientation of this graphic?
Mhm.
Okay. So in the agreement between the city of Hampton and Griffin, that Mayor Tarpley referenced, that I'm sure you all are familiar with, that was executed in July 2024, there was a plan to be able to provide Hampton with an alternate source of water for the customers and the residents of the city of Hampton. We've got a client that has some water needs, and we've determined the staging of those water needs. It's not we don't need all the water at one time water need. We figured out how much flow we need at different stages and what times. Those are illustrated on this graphic right now. But in working with Falcon Engineering, who's the city of Hampton's engineer, and then Falcon worked with Garber, who is Griffin or Spalding? Help me out, Jay.
Spalding.
Garber has been doing some water modeling for Spalding. Falcon, on behalf of the city of Hampton, with Garber, have been working and looking at some initial models to model what size water mains and under what scenarios bringing water to the west side of Hampton would do, and what does that look like, and how does it get done? I know I've heard Mayor Tarpley say this several times. You want to kind of energize economic development, energize the west side of the city of Hampton, and this is one option to do that, right? So on the graphic you see here, you see a couple of different colors between Garver and Falcon's coordination together. They determined the ultimate ask from the city of Hampton was that the city of Griffin, in their agreement, supply up to 5 million gallons a day. Now, again, that's not immediately. That builds up in stages. But to figure out what it would take to do that, I know that Garver and, again, Falcon on the city's behalf have worked together, determined some preliminary line sizes, and then we started to look at, okay, I'm representing one of the customers in the city of Hampton, and based on the customer's needs, how does this project get built? Because this pipeline is not for one specific user. It is for the entire west side, or for all of Hampton, or the west side of Hampton. And but it's kind of a catalyst to get this going. How do we build this project that it all makes sense and it can get done timely? So to start off on the north side here, in Hampton, this green portion of the line is a 20-inch water main that has been designed, has been permitted, has been approved by the city of Hampton, and is currently under construction. We were all to get in the car right now and come up to this area, you would see clearing and pipe going in the ground for this project. This project was designed and permitted mid to late last year, started construction, I'd say probably third quarter last year. We would anticipate this portion of this line to be constructed in the second quarter of this year. So in terms of water demands, I have my paper over there, so I'm gonna go off memory of it, but it's all in the email documents we sent over. The first ask was for 375,000 gallons 275, sorry, let me grab my notes here. So we looked at how could we do that? And that 275 from Spalding would be needed on around September 1st this year. The customer's requirements would be that the system is fully online by December. But they have commissioning and testing they need to do in their systems to make sure the building can operate as needed in that 3-month time period. So the September 1st date that I put on the notes that you guys have here is it'll give the customer time to test the systems and commission and make sure the building is operational, so when it is fully functional on that December date, that everything runs perfect. So the September 1st date, that's the reasoning for the September 1st date I gave in the portion that we call phase 2A. So one way we were thinking we could accomplish being able to service that amount of water in this phase 2A would be to extend the green line with this portion of the red here and tie it to the Sunnyside tank. And I'm going to let Jason, my partner, get up and speak on a little bit of the why of this, but I know right now we've got to do some coordination with Garber, we've got to do some coordination with you guys, we've got to do some coordination with the city and Falcon to really iron out the details of this, but we do think this is possible. Jason, I don't know if you want to add to that a little bit.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So I guess I'm just a little confused with the words because you refer to the red portion of the project being related to us at Spalding, but we don't provide water. So are you saying Spalding meaning the city of Griffin? Because we're not the water provider.
Yes, ma'am. So the city of Griffin is the water provider. Help me out, Mayor Tarpley, but I know that Mayor Tarpley has met with, help me out, the city of Griffin representatives and Spalding County representatives, and Spalding's lines would transmit the water from Griffin to get to Hampton.
Yeah, I'll take that, Scott. So there's an agreement between Griffin and Spalding for the Griffin water to be transmitted through the Spalding County pipes. And there's rules and regulations set forward with that where you're funded through that as well. So the water comes from the Griffin water treatment plant, but the lines in between the Cyan section in here, that'll belong to Spalding County. That new infrastructure, those new pipes will belong to you as Spalding County. And it'll stay within the in-place agreements between Griffin and Spalding County that currently exist. So both the 2004 agreement between Griffin and City of Hampton, that stays within the rules set forth in your agreements with the City of Griffin. So all of this work was set forth previously. And so right now what we're asking to do is just install the actual infrastructure to finish this up. So all the agreements for selling water and transmitting water was in place before. Now the actual physical pipes just need to go in the ground in order to get the water from the plant to the city of Hampton.
So you understand though, even though those things are in place, it all depends on whether or not it's going to negatively affect our system. So you're skipping over that part. So I need for you to understand that this is not a done deal.
Right, yes, ma'am. So,
Real quick,
sorry, Mr.
Scott,
Mayor, I couldn't see your name off the
Um,
sheet there. So that's in the coordination with Garver that Falcon has been doing with the city and the water authority and the engineering staff for those two have been talking about that. So, there has been that level of coordination. Although this is our first interaction with you guys, there have been interaction at the staff level, to make sure that this is possible.
I think, yeah, I think we generally understand this is a working
Yes, sir.
group, and can this work? If so, what would it take? We understand that, so.
real quick, the pipe sizes and the infrastructure. So the Garver report, the hydraulic model that was done, a full assessment of your system, your whole water system, that was done direct to you under your direction or your staff's direction. And so the pipe sizes here are what was recommended by your consultant. So the firm you said that said, hey, this is what's needed to protect us, to be able to provide, I think the term they used was the existing level of service to your customers. To maintain your level of service, protect your customers. This goal here is to stay within what was recommended in your report. So there's a little bit of finesse to work out on some of the scheduling and dates, and there's some more coordination needed with your engineering staff and some more assessment with the hydraulic model that is of your system to protect you. But all of these pipe sizes were designated so that it doesn't negatively impact your customers.
Let's finish the presentation and then we'll go to the grilling.
So, I'm going back at a high level. We've got Griffin Water, we're gonna transmit through pipes that are yet to be constructed, that at the county line would be owned by Spalding County, right? After the county line, they would be owned by the city. Okay. There'd be a master meter at the county line where, Griffin's master meter to the city, with, turning the city of Hampton water. This phase 2A was to get that initial, 375,000 gallons. And again, we're still working out the details with your engineering consultants and staff on that. As a parallel design to 2A in the red, we will start the design of 2B. It was noted in the Garber report, if the 2B line improvements were made, the 2A line improvements are made, and a ground storage tank was placed, the city of Griffin system could supply up to 750,000 gallons a day to the city of Hampton. And that's all in the report that Jason is referencing, that Garber performed for you guys. To achieve the full 5 million gallons that would that's in the 2024 agreement, this middle section up here would need to be built, and it's a combination of 24 and 30-inch lines. Again, these line sizes were picked by Garber, Spalding County's consultant, in coordination with Falcon, the city of Hampton's consultant on this.
Real quick with that, the need right now ultimately is the 3 million gallons. The 5 million gallons is long-term future to account for other undeveloped land in this service district. That's not the need right now, but all of the infrastructure is being designed to account for that long-term future need. So there's no needing to come back in 6 years when another development comes online. So the need right now is not the full 5 million gallons, but it is being provisioned for in this infrastructure.
I think from a overall description of what we're trying to do, I'll end there, and then I will answer any questions you guys have. But help me out, Jason. I feel like
Yeah.
presented.
Any other questions here?
I have several.
Okay.
I would like to know, if they are already on the Henry County water system, why are they not using Henry County?
Well, yeah, I want to get to that too. Let me.
Well, you
let
asked if
him-
we had any questions, that's why I
Okay,
asked the
well.
question. Make up your mind.
You want us to stand up or sit down, or what do we?
Well,
You may want,
I had questions over here and a question over here, just a minute.
you may want to come back to the podium.
I just want to be up there to be able to
Well,
point.
Maybe we'll go down this path first. First off, Brandon's here from the city. Do you have anything you want to add to this?
No, if you have any questions for me directly, feel free.
Okay, and Henry County Water's here, so to her question, do you have anything Henry County like to say on this? Henry County Water, so everybody gets a chance.
Morning. Good morning.
Good
I'm
morning.
Tony Carnell, Henry County Water Authority General Manager.
Welcome.
Thank you, thank you. So, you asked, was Henry County Water Authority providing water to Hampton currently?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Currently, we provide 90% of the water to the city of Hampton. We had a municipal service agreement with Hampton that had expired. And the desire of the previous city manager was to provide that they wanted to be the presumptive provider of water for the west side of Hampton. So we were asked if we could provide a large volume of water, up to about 5 million gallons a day of water. But our position was, well, we've done population projections. We know, we forecasted the use of water in Hampton, like, what are you looking to do? So we really had no idea what was being planned over in Hampton at the time. We were just asked for a large volume of water. So we basically said, we're not going to provide a large volume of water without knowing what the need is. And at the time, I believe it was like 3.3 million gallons a day specifically is what was asked. And our basically, we said, no, we're not going to provide that till we do a study. We talk to the end user, see what's going on. And so later, we finally got our municipal service agreement finalized, and somewhere in there, we learned that there was a large user. It was a data center. And the largest water user in our system right now is 240,000 gallons per day. Second largest user is 180,000 gallons per day. So to provide water, anything over 100,000 gallons per day, we required a feasibility study. So in February of 2025, we received a letter from the city manager, the former city manager of Hampton, requesting for a feasibility study of up to 400,000 gallons per day for phase 2 and 1.5 million gallons a day for phase 3. So we did that feasibility study at the city's expense, and we came back with recommendations of projects. Basically, we indicated that we could provide up to 100,000 gallons a day, phase 1, at a cost of about 3 million gallons a day. And we did a phase 2, we could provide up to 400,000 gallons per day at a cost of about $35 million worth of improvements. And we came up with phase 3, we could provide up to 1.5 million gallons per day at an additional cost of about $45 million. So a total of about $85 million worth of projects. And our board made the decision that if we're going to provide this volume of water to a single user, then it would be a direct customer of Henry County Water Authorities. Hampton's desire was for them to basically purchase the water at a municipal rate and mark it up to that end user who's a data center. So basically, those parameters for an agreement were given to the city back in November of 2025. And from my understanding, the city has not accepted that. We've not received a response from the city yet, but basically our board was pretty direct that if a user of 1.5 million gallons a day, which is basically more than what we provide to the city of Hampton, city of Stockbridge combined. Right now, we provide city of Stockbridge was about a little less than 700,000 gallons per day. We provide the city of Hampton a little less than 700,000 gallons per day. So it's a big ask for us, and it impacts our capital improvement plan. So basically, we overlay the usage of this data center onto our forecasted projections, and those are the projects that came from our consultant engineer. And so those are still on the table. Would the authority do any more than 1.5 million gallons a day? That's something that I would have to take back to my board. But again, our largest customer is 240,000, 280,000 gallons per day. And when you go to put a customer of this magnitude, which is asking about 6 times more than that amount, that's a concern. So that's where we're at. We're certainly here to help Hampton or the data center with that 1.5 million gallons a day.
So this by all indications, this is just a flow-through cooling data center. This water is.
Yes, sir. This is a water-cooled
Which is
data
something
center.
Spalding County doesn't allow.
Yeah.
And the city of Griffin just issued a moratorium on. But yet they're wanting to sell water to Hampton for this data center. Okay.
All right, so what I didn't want to get is between you and the city of Hampton. So, okay, thank you for sort of sorting all that out. Appreciate it. Okay. Any other questions? Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I have some more.
Wade here is our board chairman, and he's in the water business.
Hang on.
So
We're probably gonna
press
want the
on.
engineers back up.
Our engineers, look,
So the red spur on your graph there is the Sunnyside tank. That's the line you need to put in to temporarily serve this, correct?
That's correct. That'll be some transmission main along the main highway and then connect into Sunnyside.
Okay. And at that tank, I'm looking at what I believe is from Garver. At 144,000 gallons a day, we're gonna lose 2 foot of elevation of that tank. Our tank currently runs at what standard?
Right now, about 1088 is the top. Right now, or the overflow elevation is 1095, but because of bottlenecks in the system, we can only get about 1088.
Okay, so we can't
Sorry,
fill,
I'm gonna interrupt a bit. For those you don't know, Joseph Johnson here is our chief engineer.
so 1095 is our overflow, 1088, so we're losing 7-8 feet worth of tank already.
Correct.
Just normal before this even comes on. All
What
right,
do you mean by bottleneck?
So,
they can't fill the tank.
yes,
The
we
city of
can't
Griffin
get,
cannot fill the tank.
well, the water authority can't fill the tank, and the Garver study, when we did the water modeling work, we found that there is a bottleneck between the city system and our system. So there's head losses that exist that are larger in the city system that automatically reduces the water elevation that comes into our system. So we can't physically, the only way we could get full utilization from that tank is to put a booster pump on it.
So, hang on before we get off track here. So at 144,000 gallons a day, we're gonna lose 2 foot off the 1088, right?
Yes.
So that's gonna put us 1086. At 275,000 gallons per day, we're gonna lose 3 foot.
Yeah.
Is that an additional 3 foot or
Just
total 3 foot?
Total.
All right, so that's gonna bring us down to 1085. And then at 750,000 gallons, we lose 6 foot, total 6 foot.
Correct.
So that's gonna bring us down to 1082. 95, what's that? So we're losing, is that a 35 foot tall tank? What's the bowl? 37 on the bowl? 37 foot bowl tank, so we're gonna lose, do what now?
What was the total?
1082 is what the total drop would be. Off of 1095, so we're gonna lose 13 feet off the tank, so that's gonna put us at 25 feet basically. How does that impact the volume of the tank?
So that's,
30% roughly, we're gonna lose 30% of the volume.
Yeah, 30%, so if, just
Fire
back in
fire
napkin
marshal
math.
here?
He is.
Okay.
So that's roughly 150,000 gallons of storage that is reduced, so.
How much storage is that gonna leave us in the tank under ideal conditions?
So, 0.30 times 500 equals 350, and of that, if we use 1,500 gallons a minute at 2 hours, that's roughly 180,000 gallons of volume that we need to hold for fire protection.
How much? 180
180,000,
per hour
no, total for 2 hours.
for 2 hours, 180 for 2 hours.
Yes.
That's on page 5 of the report, if you have the report in
I
front of you.
don't have the report.
Okay.
I got a 2-page, dumb briefing. Here's what I got.
Yeah, on page 5 of the report, what Garver said is the minimum that Spalding County was requesting was the 180 for fire flow and then 25% volume. So they put the sort of bottom limit on the tank of 305,000 gallons is what was listed in the report. I think that was part of the design parameters. From reading this that was given to Garver is that was the minimum and nothing could be used below that.
So what he's referring to is, we talked about how the metrics that we measure any development that's going to tie into our system, that was put into play when we did this modeling effort. So the reason why the final report hasn't been brought in front of the board is because I've been telling the Water Authority Board since last October that we were waiting on information from the city of Hampton. I tried to get this project closed out starting back last June. So now that the project is officially closed, there is no more modeling to be done. This report that he's referring to is the final report. So I will confirm that these diameters that they show, the assumption, the scenario that we ran was a 2030 max day demand. The only difference that our CIP showed was versus what this scenario was is along the 1941 corridor, Garver did not anticipate a large industrial user. The assumption is any large industry that goes along that corridor, they're going to have to provide system improvements to support their demand. And so that's the scenario that we're looking at here.
So, as a City of Griffin water user, when the City of Griffin has declared a moratorium on data centers and has been very vocal about the fact that the county, the Board of Commissioners, should not be trying to have projects that's gonna use a lot of water, I find it very strange that they're perfectly okay with this. And my water bill has gone up every year for the last 15 years. So I'm like every other citizen who's fussed about every data center that there is. I wanna know how me as the end user is gonna be affected by the City of Griffin providing 5 million gallons of water.
I'd like to talk
Brandon?
back.
Your turn.
Can I finish saying what
Oh,
I'm
I'm sorry, I
saying?
didn't-
Gallons of water to a data center on a daily basis.
Thank you all. I'd like to address a couple of comments just for clarity purposes. As you know, we're a regional provider. We have many wholesale customers. Spalding County Water Authority being one of our customers, Coweta County Water Authority being one of our customers, City of Zebulon, Pike County Water Authority, Butts County Water Authority, Concord, Williamson, and Lamar County, which also includes City of Barnesville. So our approach with how we sell water to our wholesale customers is a little bit different than maybe the example you heard from Mr. Carnell. We do not have jurisdiction over those wholesale areas and how they use their water. Our endpoint user is the wholesale customer. So it's you guys, it is Coweta County, it is Zebulon, and how they choose to use their water once it passes through that master meter, which we will maintain for our agreements, is of their choosing. I will say, just for clarity, I did not know that it was a data center that would be using water until later on during the agreement. And I have my own opinions about data centers, but I do want to make one thing clear. The moratorium that the City of Griffin has issued for data centers is not solely with respect to water. There are much other and greater concerns for City of Griffin because of our density. The proximity to our neighbors and how they'll impact our citizens is our primary concern with that moratorium. We do need to control our water resource and how we allocate the 24.5 million gallons per day of water capacity that we have available through production facilities. And we have to coordinate with you guys and your engineer to ensure that your system is not negatively impacted with that. And of course, that's what this addresses, is there's no negative impact. And as a matter of fact, I would argue there's a net positive impact to your system with this.
If I could finish my questions, we may get to all that.
Let me interrupt.
But I wanted to.
24.5 million gallons per day of production capacity.
Yes.
And what are you selling now in water generally?
Our current average demand is around 11 million gallons per day.
So you've got twice the water available to sell that you're selling.
More than twice.
So water being a commodity, if you increase the volume, you theoretically reduce the cost.
Yes, and that is our model, and that was the primary,
Not to us.
the previous city manager in Hampton told me that was his primary, motivation to sign a contract with the City of Griffin, is because there was more of a possibility of that rate decreasing over time, or at least, kind of remaining flat and not just increasing. To address the increase in your water bill, Miss
Taylor.
Flowers Taylor. And our retail, you're in the City of Griffin, correct? Okay. So our retail water model increases by the municipal cost index, and that is simply a measure to keep up with the cost of providing the service. So it goes up by incrementally by the municipal cost index published in, January each year, which if I had to, give it an average over the last 10 years, and let's not count the 1 year of major inflation because that skews things, it's probably around 2% per year.
So that keeps you up with inflation, the MCI.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Okay, well, for everybody, just make sure we understand, in our previous discussions on this thing, we generally been supportive if it does not negatively impact our system. In fact, ultimately would improve our system with larger pipes going through our system, could potentially be an advantage to us. But we don't want to,
Well, that's why I'm
we
trying
don't
to,
want to disadvantage getting there, so,
that's why I'm trying to put everybody on the record.
okay, back to you, Wade.
You're already standing there, so you're on the hook
Good.
now. What's your production capacity at Simmons?
12.5 million gallons per day.
Still Branch 12 and a half? Or
It is now the Dr. Brant D. Keller water treatment plant, but yes, 12 MGD there.
12? So if you have to shut down Simmons, you only got 12 MGD.
That's correct.
Okay. That's all I got for you, buddy.
All right.
Where's our fire marshal?
Okay,
All right, fire chief.
Fire chief, excuse me, fire chief.
welcome, chief.
Well, you heard about the water constraint if we let them tie into the Sunnyside tank. Does that meet your needs?
Well, I
mean,
do have some concerns.
Okay.
And when you look at that whole area of the county, it's very complex because if you go up the 1941 corridor, you have several target hazards that have several different type of water flow demands. Should we have a fire up there? Can y'all hear me okay? We have everything from multifamily dwellings and apartment complexes to several industrial occupancies. And
Large fires.
Sorry?
Large fires.
Large fires,
Okay.
especially when you look at what types are, they may not even be large buildings, but the fire loading and the possible fuels they have. You have some tire stores, you have several different auto body shops, and you even have historically, and we talk a lot of what could happen in my world, unfortunately, but you have we had a very large fire in the auto industry up there right before I got here. Been here 7 years now. And it was an auto salvage lot, and they were on scene flowing well in excess of 1,000 gallons of water a minute for several hours. So you talk about what could be up there. There have also been some actual events up there that did dictate large water flows in the industrial climate. But even with the residential we had a fire up there 2 weeks ago at North Pomona Road where we were on scene. It was a 2,400 square foot residence. And we were there for 7 hours flowing about 1,000 gallons a minute. So my concerns would be, I hear what's going in, but I would need to see some hydraulic calculations to say, you have a high water day up there, let's say race weekend. Is that going to affect the volume? Should we get a fire in one of these multifamily dwellings, one of these commercial occupancies, or even several of the large single-family dwelling homes we have up there? Is it going to be able to supply the volume we need for extended water operations? And I would have to see that and feel comfortable that this isn't going to impact that. And I know we talk a lot of what ifs, but we have had some significant fires up there.
Let me ask you this, if we were able to structure this to where we could put an actuator in and shut that line off in the event of a fire, I don't know how that's gonna impact their customer or anything, but would that satisfy your
As
concerns?
long as I would want to go through and do a worst case scenario fire and see what the requirements be and make sure that in their high demand days, it still could supply the volume we need. I would have,
I'm talking about if, in the event. that
In the
we have
event,
a
even if
fire,
that
we
could do
have
it.
to close that line off so that you can have the water, would that satisfy your concerns?
if it would shut it down and still meet our high demands, yes, I would feel
Okay.
comfortable with that.
That would put it back to what it is currently.
Correct.
Well, depending on what the plant's running at, I don't know how long it take them to, what's your pumps at Simmons? I'm assuming most of this water's coming from Simmons, what are they, 250 horse?
Well, no, we've got various, size pumps and various outputs. I think the, largest one right now puts out, 8 million gallons per day by itself.
Okay, so it wouldn't take long to overcome it then?
Yeah, so we can pump out, at a much greater capacity than we are able to treat through water in a 24-hour period. So we
Okay.
can ramp up production and turn on additional pumps and draw down a clear well to, push more water to
What's your million gallon clear well? Is that-
I have one pump that will pump our total capacity for 24 hours from the plant, just one pump by itself.
Okay.
I believe the 5 million gallons that was stated in your model, I think that's 3,500 gallons per minute. This is based upon continuous flow of 3,500 gallons per minute. So that's the flow being added to the system above and beyond the existing capacity.
And Wade, to answer that last question you asked me, it's 4.5 million gallons in our clear well at Harris.
Okay. All right, so you got extensive reserve. The only thing I'm getting at right now is this is gonna impact our Sunnyside tanks, what I'm getting at. And I just wanna know how it's gonna impact the Sunnyside tank and what we need to do to mitigate that impact. I'm assuming, I think, if I understand Joseph correctly, doing the new water line actually helps improve our system hydraulics, is that correct? So it's really, my concern is the time period from the temporary connection to the Sunnyside tank that I guess is gonna stay there permanently in case y'all need it.
Once this
To
line's
whenever this
increased, then
construction's
we're in
complete.
much better shape.
Yeah, when is the construction realistically going to complete?
Chief, do you have anything else you wanna say, or anybody?
I have a question. Why, I understand that they want water temporarily from the Sunnyside tank. We're not obligated through our contract to provide that, are we?
Our contract states the city of Griffin can sell water through our mains to any wholesale connection outside the county as long as there's capacity.
Okay, but
They
I'm
don't
talking about our water
negatively
tanks.
They
Well-
don't negatively impact our system. The tank's part of the system.
So the tank goes into the capacity. So the real crux is, do we allow Hampton, does the Water Authority Board want to allow Hampton to draw any water until that dark blue line is put in? Because as soon as the dark blue line's put in, per the contract and through our study, the city of Hampton can take 750,000 gallons a day before they negatively impact our system.
So,
Why can't they have their own tank?
Well,
You still gotta fill it.
it's
gotta
still,
have the flow.
it goes back to, they're
I
using
mean,
the city
I'm
of
talking
Hampton.
using the line, they can use the line, but when we're starting to talk about them using our tank is already not working efficiently. Okay, we even have problems with pressure if there's a fire up there. So I'm saying that our ability to use the water out of that tank, why does that have to do with the line that they need to have water coming back and forth?
They can't hydraulically get it there.
Well, that's what I said. Why can't they build a tank?
Well, they do have a
Can't
tank on their
hydraulically
side.
Get it into the tank.
They do have a ground storage tank that they're proposing on their side with a booster pump because our grade lines are different. So, long story short, based on the modeling efforts that Garver did at our discretion, based on the city of Hampton's request, if these lines get installed, the city of Griffin can produce or send city of Hampton 5 million gallons a day all day long. And we're just gonna get the 1% transmission fee on the volume or the sales that they produce, right? But the real question at the heart of the matter is, does the Water Authority Board want to allow the city of Hampton to take 1 gallon of water, because we've already shown that our system is already at disadvantage now, before that dark blue line's put in? That's really all we can say.
now, if either one of you seen this report they referred to?
Absolutely, yes.
You have, okay.
Yes.
I haven't, so,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Well, it will be on the next, I'll send it out today.
okay. Yes.
The construction schedule, yeah. Realistic construction schedule.
Well, the dates I have here are the dates that our client has said, this is when we need this water.
I know what the client said. What is the realistic construction schedule?
I think these are pretty realistic. We've talked to, we've got a handful of proven qualified utility contractors we've been talking to. We've been talking to much delay today.
So the blue line has been referred to be,
Yes, sir.
could be completed basically in a year, March of 2027.
Yes, sir.
It's pretty fast.
You already have all the easements and right of ways?
No, we do not.
Okay,
We've got,
So-
let me add to that, Mr. Kent. I know where you're going, I know where you're There was an initial route, selected, possibly with Falcon and Garver. I know, it came from Falcon, so help me out, Dave. I don't know if you guys picked this route or Garver picked this route.
We did initial layout based off of limited access area, we're going around those. Recently, we've gotten some of the easements from Griffin that we can insert and may help some of the routing, but, that's something like 4 years.
We've been looking at some options here, so the next step is to really dig in with your staff and figure out what it takes to get from point A to point B.
Is that blue line,
Bishop Way.
That's Griffin.
it's all in the city?
Way, we've got to work through these details with your staff.
Excuse me. The blue line's all within the city of Griffin?
Yes, sir.
So they have the easements, whatever they're using now, right?
Yes, sir. So we'll be working with the city of Griffin. And the reason we did this blue line, it takes it to the city limits. From a
Okay.
permitting standpoint, it's just, it's easier, it's clean, it's one set of plans. The science section will be the part that went through Spalding County.
Okay.
So, we're at that step right now where we're about to start figuring this out.
So the blue line, Joseph.
Yes.
The dark blue line, once that's in, our Sunnyside tank problem goes away.
The Sunnyside tank volume is the bottleneck within the city of Griffin system goes away. Correct.
Okay.
So that's where, remember, the metrics that we run, the criteria, the 5 different things, it's head loss through the system, it's tank cycling, tank volume, minimum pressures, maximum pressures.
So looking ahead, getting the blue line improved is really advantage to our system immediately.
Absolutely.
So there's a payoff for us in our coverage.
And to get back to Mr. Cannon's original question, how long? September to March. So we're designing both of these at the same time, the blue and the red.
Mhm.
The red's shorter, we're gonna be able to design, we're gonna be able to permit it, it's gonna be able to get under construction faster. There may be a month or two lag, and this is gonna take longer, right? It's more complex, it's in the city. But we're starting design on both of these right now.
The only thing I'm really concerned about in this whole situation
How
is
long's the tank?
how long is that tank gonna be compromised? That's what I'm concerned about. Our residents pay a fire district tax. What are we we're gonna allow another city to pull water off our system and then us have problems fighting a fire in our county? That's the picture that would be put out to the world.
So I can see where Hampton is concerned with their customer and what they're willing to wait for. From our side, it looks to me like a year from now, we'd have a whole different,
Yes. I mean,
because you'd fix the problem that we have.
to kind of further dig into this point, Mr. Cannon, and then Chief, there may be another smaller upgrade somewhere they can get, and Mr. Johnson, you may know this, but is there something else in here other than this that could get you guys comfortable with allowing this connection for a 6-month period until the blue was there? And, I mean, Jason, you may have looked at the report and
So this is a 10% set layout. You gotta have a point to start from. So we took the model and the recommendations we had at the time, we got a launching off point. So now is the time where we sit down and partner and make sure we're meeting this section that's gonna be belonged by Spalding County. It's gonna meet your standards, it's gonna meet your staff's guidelines, it's gonna be what your staff wants for your system long-term. So now's the point where we sit down with that true partnership to help finesse some of the details and see, is there little tweaks here or there that could help this intermediate to help improve the system? That's the next steps where we want to partner with you in this.
I don't know if there are in that area, but if we agreed to this, we obviously can't hinder the firefighting ability in Spalding County. We're partners with Spalding County. That's who we deal with. We can't cause them issues. How would the customer respond if we put an actuator in there and shut that line off and we need it in case of a fire? How is that gonna affect their business?
We're working on those systems to make sure. We understand you have to protect your system and not, negatively impact, and you have to provide fire service.
Are they gonna have on-site storage?
There is some on-site storage already. So this site is being developed with 24 to 48 hours worth of on-site storage. Just in the event that a utility is out of service, they can buffer the system.
That
So
would
that
make a
is
big
already
difference.
on-site along with other provisions being considered.
Okay, let me,
You're representing the data center. Do you think that may be a issue if we have to shut that line off to fight a fire?
We do have the on-site buffer tank. It's hard for me to give that answer until we kind of work the details of it, but that's what we can do together.
Okay.
I do think there's a way that we could work around it with that buffer tank in there, but like when we had Mr. Johnson and the staff, we say, okay, you know, the 7-hour event that the chief spoke of, or what are these events and how long could that be? And then we can figure out if there is some scenario where you guys have to cut off water for a time period, how do we buffer it with some of the systems that are on site?
Well, I think we're gonna need this question answered.
Yes, sure.
And
Again,
part,
like Jason said, we're at the beginning stage of this design, and now it's time to get into those details with, y'all figured out.
let me, very good. Dr. Ledbetter, our county manager, had his hand up earlier. You got anything you want to say or question?
I didn't have my hand up, you saw my hand up, I apologize.
Oh,
I have a question, Mr. Morrow.
yes, sir.
Does this increase in pressure, should we allow that line to go through? How will that affect residential properties? And will they, if it increases their pressure, is that gonna do something to their line? Will it decrease their pressures for residential customers?
So the pressure grade line is really established by the tanks. So
The
honestly, the water level in the tank really sets the pressure grade line for the system. So pressures, people are really not going to see any deviation in pressure. Yeah, 2.3 feet is 1 psi. So you're not going to see much variation. It's really the crux of this situation falls along the ability of the fire department to support a fire effort. That's really what it is. I do want to point out, we're talking about the red and the dark blue line being a 6-month lag. Be mindful that cyan line, per their schedule, they're going to need 3 million gallons a day from the city of Griffin by July 1st of 2027. So April, May, June, July, that's another 4 months from the request of 750,000 gallons a day. So unless we have a strategy that, say we get something worked out on the red and the dark blue. Well, we know with the dark blue line, they're going to have access to 750,000 gallons a day. But if there's a lag between the cyan line and the dark blue line coming online, they're going to want 3 million gallons a day, and our system will not be able to support 3 million gallons a day. So it would behoove us to really work this entire construction schedule out and just not those two pieces.
Yes, I agree.
Because we'll be in the same spot we are today.
No, we can't, I mean,
This is a piece of infrastructure that needs to get in to get over 750, right? The report says that. This size is the size that Garber said, hey, this is what gets you 5 million. So this is the piece of infrastructure to get you over 750, right? That's from the city of Hampton, or from the customer of the city was 3 million. This is the line that makes that happen, right? So I just kind of point out that that's the piece of infrastructure that gets to over 750.
but if we, regardless, I see that as an owner's problem, is what I see that as. If we can shut off that line in the event of a fire, if we need to, even if they take 750 and we drop that tank 6 feet, our customers aren't gonna be impacted except for firefighting ability, which if we can shut that line off, we have solved that issue. Correct or no?
Let me ask this question. Will that line provide water to any other City of Hampton customers besides this one?
it's for their service district. It's not just, this isn't a line for a customer, it is for their service district.
So that could affect other things, other customers in that scenario. I just want to bring that up. You know, it's not just this customer that would have to, have some
So,
other backup.
To answer your question, Wade, in the event that we ever find ourselves in a situation like we found ourselves in over the last 5 days, where the city of Griffin is dumping a lot of water on the ground. In the event that that happens, our Sunnyside tank, I saw on SCADA where it was down to 15 feet. Well, that's over half of our
So you're gonna
tank.
put it
So
9.
depending on where our tank level is at the time that a fire starts, if based on Chief Bird's statement where it was 7 hours at 1,000 gallons a minute, that they needed over 400,000 gallons to support that effort.
Chief?
Really don't use that 7 hours as benchmark either. Remember, that was a residential house.
Yes, sir.
If you have some of those commercial, like we talked about, that salvage yard, I could not find a photo with their different residential. They were there over a day. So don't, and the disruption could be well past 7 hours.
That was the old forklift junkyard up there, right?
Yeah, the forklift one, those, and some of the tires, you're talking days of disruption for their purpose.
Mayor, you,
For the purpose of benchmarking, kind of establishing how the tank does perform.
We could look back at the history of how that tank did perform during that fire and determine, with existing conditions, how it was affected by, say, a worst case scenario of 1,000 GPM demand.
Yeah, story ain't go back that far.
Yeah, when was that?
I tried to find it was prior to our current records management system in my 10-year sheet,
Okay,
but I'm gonna say it was about 10 years ago.
I can certainly look.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I don't know, you're actually my consultant for that, so you tell me.
It depends on what Give devoted to storage, buddy.
I will take a look.
Yeah.
Mayor, you have something?
Yes, I just wanted to say in regards to, the, 5 million gallons that we're asking for, from Griffin to be delivered to the city of Hampton. It is to activate the entire west side of our city. However, at this point in time, and it will probably be another 3 years before anybody else or more comes on to that water system. And of course, that will be built out totally by then. So turning off the water, would only impact this one end user at this point in time.
Who has some on-site storage
That's correct.
buffer built in.
That's right.
All right. Well, let me
Well-
speak for myself.
Did you have a question, sir?
I have a bunch of questions.
Oh.
I mean, first of all,
You come
You
up
gotta
here to
come
the
up here, dude.
microphone.
Hi, please.
And you are?
Patrick Kelly with the Henry County Water Authority.
Okay, Patrick, thank you.
I just want some clarification on the phase 3. It's gonna be owned by Spalding County Water Authority, if I'm understanding that correctly. Are additional taps gonna be able to be made on that main, or is that a sole feed directly to that Sunnyside tank?
So it would be a water authority pipe that would have connections off of it. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can make future connections. if
100%. Yes.
needed. Okay, the gentleman from the city of Griffin, I believe, I don't remember your name, I'm sorry. Brandon? Mentioned 11 MGD as far as the average day. Do you know what the peak day, what your max day is?
About 14.
About 14? And the 24.5 MGD, is that your permitted capacity for your plants or the pumping capacity?
That's current, both pumping and permitting. No, withdrawal permits, we have 48 million gallons per day.
Okay, to be able to withdraw from your
So
sources.
It would be an acceleration to our CIP to expand the plants, but yes,
Okay.
if we needed to.
And I guess finally, the buffer tank that you mentioned, do you know the, I didn't hear the size of that tank.
There's multiple, so, we'd have to go back and look at that. Right now, that's in the final design, so, but there's multiple tanks per building.
So you mentioned 24 to 48 hours, so I'm assuming 3 to 6 million gallons buffer size?
Over the course of all of the tanks, they're, depending on the end user, some want 48 hours, some want 24 hours.
Okay, and from the city of Griffin side of things, from a master planning standpoint, you know, you got an additional potential 5 million. Do y'all, I know we don't reserve capacity. Do y'all reserve capacity for city of Griffin as far as for any customers or agreements that you have?
We do not have, reserve capacity within all existing agreements with the exception of Hampton, at 5 MGD as of, year 2027.
Okay, so that would be reserve capacity for them due to the agreement.
Yep.
Okay.
You don't have any with Coweta?
Well, yeah, well, that's a very different agreement, but yeah, Coweta County is a 5 MGD take-or-pay agreement. So they're, yes.
And that's,
So they can take up to
and
5.
that's expiring.
That's not reserved.
No, it is reserved. So they have the right for that agreement to take up to 5 million gallons per day.
Okay.
And that is, last I heard, that's still expiring, that contract?
It expires in 2042.
Okay, 42.
As far as master planning, projecting out, do y'all have like a 30-year master plan that y'all have put together, or that
We
the
have.
cities or other counties have given to y'all, so that you know sort of what kind of demands they're projecting in the future?
So I do not have our wholesale customers' master plans. That is an effort that we're looking toward. And as part of that effort, we would establish volumetric caps on the pre-existing contracts with all of our other wholesale customers.
Okay, and the,
I guess if you're gonna ask questions.
Yeah, come on up.
No, you stay.
You two
So-
gotta hear everybody.
So, yeah, I asked my engineers to join me, in case some questions came up relative to the authority system. And so really a lot of the questions he asked are pertaining to the city system. But I mean, we'll be glad to answer any questions y'all may have of us pertaining to our system.
I do have one question, Tony. So, we inked an agreement about 12 months ago for that emergency connection contract. You told me that the Henry County Water Authority was going to bring a line down 1941. How does that affect our ability to add an additional connection to that agreement?
That sort of complicates things. Actually, Patrick Kelly is the one that did the model for us to see how much water we could provide you on an emergency basis. And we are constructing that line right now, and we actually have another project that's gonna, give us redundancies in that area to probably provide you a little bit more on an emergency basis. But yeah, this kind of complicates things a little bit, and I don't have a clear answer to that, but I know we agreed to 2 or 3 emergency connections.
Yeah, right now the emergency connections are on the northeast side, on the 155 side. But we talked about how it's in the Water Authority's best interest to ensure that in the event that we ever we get in a situation where Griffin can't support our needs per the contract, we had no mechanism in place that would allow us to get water. So that's what we reached out to Henry County Water Authority. But if this 1941 pipeline, I don't know the best way to handle that. But thank you, Tony.
Patrick, is there anything else about our system you want to
no,
share?
mine were mainly because after hearing all the presentation, I was more curious as an engineer myself.
Understood?
Just
Yep.
wanted to hear some of the justification.
And you said your last name was Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
And,
Thank you, Patrick.
and one thing to add, thank you, Patrick. One thing to add about, I hear the questions of if there's a fire, this, that, and the other. What was included in the feasibility study that we did for the data center was, we've had a conversation with Clayton County Water Authority to extend one of their lines up, put an emergency connection meter, which we have a few of those with Clayton County already, but we were looking to add another emergency connection, similar to what Joseph is asking of Henry County. We're asking for Clayton County because we know that this is an important facility, and so our goal was to work with them to where if there was a fire or if we lost our system, we could draw on Clayton County. And we have those with Butts County as well. They call us from time to time, and we provide water to them in the event of an emergency.
Thank you,
You
Tony.
have one with us?
We have a meter. I'm not sure if that meter, Joseph and I talked about this at one time, if that meter belongs to the city of Griffin or to Spalding County Water Authority. It's located on Hillview Road. We really need to look at that to see who owns that meter and how much flow can we provide through that meter. But I believe the line that Spalding County owns is an 8-inch line, so there's not a whole lot of flow that can be provided through it, but there is one that's present.
Short answer?
While we're asking for clarification, I would like clarification as well. That emergency connection agreement, did that contemplate the existing demand for City of Griffin and the wholesale system, since there is no, border, valves between the Spalding County water system and City of Griffin?
So right now, the way those agreements are written, it says that the city or Henry County Water Authority could provide up to 1,000 gallons a minute each one of those connections. We are going to get Garver and Henry County Water Authority to look to see exactly what the maximum flow rate is out of those connections. The connections don't even physically exist.
Right.
So it was just a mechanism we had in place that would allow, in the event that you say, hey, something's happened and we need to turn on these emergency connections.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very prudent. And, you know, in the event that something like that happens, we would probably also request the same kind of service of all of our wholesale connections that currently are connected to your system and could, feed your system.
But yeah, we're gonna work with Garver to figure that out, and that's something that we'll get with you on to show you this is the availability.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, ma'am. And you are, ma'am?
I'm Councilwoman Pamela Duchenne from the city of Hampton.
Well, nice to meet you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. I have a question. So in case there's a fire and you have to shut down the system you're speaking about, would we still get our 750,000 gallons a day that the contract that we signed allows for? And I know with the storage tank that they're saying 48 hours. What happens in the summer when there's evaporation in their open loop system? How long will that last?
Good question. Can you answer that?
So I want to clarify the question as I understand it is, in the event that we have a fire and the line or phase 3 in the Cyan is not built, that allows over 750,000 gallons a day. That's the question, correct? Yes, as long as the blue line is built and the red line is built. That allows the city of Hampton to get 750,000 gallons a day. Over 750,000 gallons a day, that Cyan line phase 3 has to be built. As long as the red and the blue are constructed. If you want over 750,000 gallons a day, so when I made the comment, we need to really pay attention to phase 3 and that timing, because if the red and the blue are built, but the Cyan's not, the same parameters that we're talking about today, where in the event that the chief bird needs to fight a fire, we're going to shut down that, we're going to throttle back that flow to give you the maximum that we can give you right then is 750,000 gallons. Does that make sense? Okay.
One thing I will say, we did mention there's some buffer tanks. That is for the regular use of the building. There's also a 240,000 gallon fire tank on this site. So, you know, with the fire marshal, the fire flows for the site is provided for by a tank. So if anything happens at this facility, it's not needing fire flows coming across the county line.
Yeah, well, only thing, and I'm not trying to sound cold, the only thing we're concerned about fighting fires is Spalding County.
But it still goes back to just water needed coming across.
Right.
So there's not that additional high demand needed coming across.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And you are?
Good morning. I'm
Morning.
Sherry Cheney from the City of Hampton, City Councilwoman. I have a question. I used to live in Griffin, and it was a great place to live. And I know the area. I see the construction going south on 19. My question is the easement. Who's paying for the easement? Because there's not a lot of right-of-way on some of the businesses going 19 south. So the blue part, the red part going, I guess that's going south into the light blue, into the dark blue. So where does it end in the city of Griffin? The dark blue, where does it end?
The dark blue takes you to the city limits.
To the city limits.
To the Harry Simmons treatment plant.
Between the city limits and the treatment plant.
Okay, so where's that located?
Right here by Home Depot.
Home Depot, okay, so,
That old brick building right here
Yes.
behind Home Depot, behind the parks,
Okay,
or in front
okay.
of the parks, that's it.
so you're going, the city, Spalding County will be pumping water uphill to Hampton, is that
Well,
correct?
the City of Griffin through our
Well,
pipes.
City of Griffin will be pumping.
Through our
But
pipes.
the first question was the easement. Who's, what if some of these businesses don't want to give up the easement? Who's gonna pay? Are you gonna,
The city of Griffin and Hampton would have to work out the city of Griffin's portion.
okay,
Spalding County Water Authority will not be buying the easements.
okay, all right. That was my question, because there's not a lot of right of way on that, west side, going to Griffin,
Which brings,
down to Home Depot.
that raises an interesting question. What is the ask of us for easement acquisition?
Okay, I don't have an answer. Oh, Joseph,
The easements are another whole thorny issue.
or me?
Easements are a whole nother thorny
I
issue.
know, yeah, but it's something to consider. It's a concern, I'm sure.
So
Yeah.
the water authority had to relocate a water main along Highway 16 to the tune of about north of $1 million. And it was at that time that the board requested that every project we put forth have a off-site route and a right-of-way route, and the board would make the determination on going off-site. Well, when we actually did the project, the easements along Highway 16 was pennies on the dollar. So the board, it's in the best interest of our authority to require any pipe that's paralleling a state route or a major thoroughfare be put in, not in right of way, but in a permanent easement. So that's how that happened.
Let me explain it. If it's on the GDOT's right of way,
Yes,
if they have to change the road, we pay to move it all.
okay,
If it's off of their right of way, an easement we bought, we don't have to pay for it. We've already paid right of way.
That's right. So
GDOT's responsible for going to put a road on it.
thought is, if this project is gonna be a $70 million project today,
Mhm.
in 20 years, if 1941 is realigned or widened, or they send a request saying, hey, we need you, we're modifying this road in some form or fashion, if we have to relocate that line, a $50 million project today is gonna cost $80 million then? So we don't wanna, I don't wanna burden the water authority's future capital improvement plans with this major water main having to be relocated.
okay, all right, thank you so much.
Okay.
What's the value, real quick, what's the value of the Spalding County Water Authority line that's being proposed to be built?
Back up, if I use Falcon's numbers that they used at the commission meeting last week, 67 and a half, if we're 60%, north of 45.
So roughly, we would get a $45 million asset out of
Yes.
this.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a healthy discussion. A lot of different folks involved. I think that says three things, and I'm starting to try to wind this up is where I'm going with this, unless somebody just has to say anything. But I think this tells us more than anything that we're all in this together. When Henry County and the city of Griffin, Spalding County, Hampton, and all those other counties and municipalities out there that the city has responsibility through contracts with, we don't want to do anything on this board that messes up or complicates all these other partnerships. So it's good to hear from everybody. And secondly, it's been stated loud and clear that this board will not allow anything in this project or any other project that will degrade in our water authority service area, particularly fire. We cannot allow our fire department to not have the water. So that's going to be our number one priority. It does not affect our fire department firefighting ability. And that is forefront on this discussion. And this is for myself personally. I know that the northern side of Spalding County is going to continue to develop. We're going to need more water up there. having these big water lines, the blue and the cyan you call it, whatever it is, I'm colorblind, it looks like turquoise or something to me, but
I think it's turquoise.
turquoise. Having those upgraded lines is an advantageous move for our water authority, because in the day as that northern area continues to develop, we'll need the bigger water lines, and this is a way for us to get them. So my personal opinion is facilitating this and making this work is a real plus for us over the term. Again, it will not degrade our fire department in the meantime. So that's my three big takeaways. And to wind this up, does anybody else, Glenn, you have anything else you want to ask or say?
Not on this discussion.
Jeff? Wade? No?
Thank you, sir.
Our
Look
attorney?
good.
Oh, no whereases. We got off cheap today.
Yeah.
Anybody out there want to say anything more? Well, thank you all for coming, and we have some business to attend to, so we'll be here, but you all are free to go.
Thank you, Chief. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
It's very nice to meet you. Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
How about a 4-minute recess?
Let's do that. You want to recess us?
Yeah,
We're gonna recess.
a 5-minute recess.
Thanks, Scott.
your best behavior.
I just wanted to get everybody on
Yes.
record.
I know it, but you was being nice.
You were.
I give it to you.
Well, I thought we had an excellent hearing, thank you all, and it was certainly interesting, and I believe everybody got a chance to speak, so. Okay, let's go back to work. Item number 2. 2.5 hour item number 1. Or an hour and a half, I mean. Discussion of developer easement acquisition assistance application.
So, as everybody remembers, we developed a MOU for easement acquisition that we have signed with High Falls 16 LLC, and we are waiting to get 585 LLC's back. Well, we had a third developer reach out and was like, hey, we would like to enter into or to discuss an MOU to get these easements. Well, I don't know if it's the board's wish for staff to get in the business of trying to acquire offsite easements for private developers. So I called around, cause we have to manage the consultant, we have to get the contracts, we have to do it, we have a limited staff as it is. So I reached out to various jurisdictions around us, and what you were looking at here is the process that Henry County Water Authority actually has on the books. So they do provide a way in the event that the project is for the ultimate good of the utility. After the developer has gone through their due diligence and contacted the customer, tried to submit fair offers, done appraisals, developers can request Henry County Water Authority's assistance. Well, I think we should put the onus on a developer to do the legwork, try to acquire their easements the natural way, and then if they hit roadblocks, ask for our assistance with the understanding that we're going to bring all the parties together and try to work out why there's a holdout. So this was a way that we don't want the private developers just waving the red flag as soon as their project is coming to fruition, saying, hey, Water Authority, we know you can do it cheaper than us because you have laws and codes that say you can only pay X percent over fair market value. I just.
So you'd just like to adopt same policies?
Correct. Correct.
Okay, let me ask you this. In the case that the county authority gets involved, do they charge a fee for that or not?
So I asked Henry County and they said no. I said, well, we require a service charge of a 1.5% if we do contracts. And I mentioned the Henry County or the City of Hampton and now the Barnesville. And he said that that's probably something they're going to look at as well, because there is staff's time that is taken up with this function. So
We should bear no cost.
correct.
And I mean, we should be able to recoup everything it costs us to do that, because it's not our stuff.
100%.
And I think these developers want to use us because they know we don't have to jump through all the hoops. So, like you said, you already have a bare staff. I don't know if that is a thing that, it will become so regular that it will require someone individually to be doing that kind of thing. But we certainly need to look at exactly what it costs us to do that, because that's a service. And it's not a service that we just provide because we're nice people.
I agree with that.
Stephanie, does this require your time as well?
Mm-hmm.
So that's another part of the cost besides staff.
Yeah, one reason why, as when I was talking with Henry County Water Authority, they mentioned there's one project that has been on the books that they've known about for 2 years, and their process for a developer to follow, it has taken the developer over 2 years to get to a point where they can now request assistance from the Henry County Water Authority. So Henry County Water Authority, Scott Sage, the engineering director that was here, stated that they make it very clear. If you think getting the Water Authority involved on easement acquisition is going to be an easy thing or a quick thing, it's probably quicker for you to do it yourself. So.
Okay, so what you're asking us to do is to essentially come to consensus. We agree to adopt the Henry County water policy with a mechanism to reimburse our costs.
So what I did was, I'll work with Stephanie to make sure she has no changes to this language. But the only thing that I did was basically switch out Henry County with Spalding County.
Sound good to you, Glenn?
I'm trying, I actually haven't read it, so I apologize. And I could not pull it up on the Spalding County website, where the Granicus or whatever.
So we have our own Granicus now, so it would be on the Spalding County Water Authority website.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Jeff?
So this would just be if they ran into roadblocks, doing it on their own, they would request our assistance.
That's right.
And then we would charge them a fee for that.
Well, right now, there's no fee built into this, but right now the process is the developer goes through the scenarios. They do they dot their T's and cross their T's and dot their I's. They bring us a package. We will review the package. We will then bring it in front of the board. The board will say yes or no, and then if the board says yes, we will begin our assistance. So that's how this is going to work.
Okay, but somewhere in there.
I do think that we need to add some sort of service fee, and the more, after Jessica and I talked about it, the more I thought about it, because we basically, these two agreements that we have are at no cost to us, but there is
a cost.
Yeah, we have to pay the labor.
And we don't want any questions regarding providing a gratuity to a private entity. So we definitely need to build in.
So what I'm
some
hearing
sort of
is,
cost.
as we've discussed, you're gonna modify this, providing if we approve to go ahead, there's a fee involved.
Correct.
Okay. Everybody good with that?
Well, and who, are you gonna do a study to determine the fee, or are you just gonna go back and walk through the process and, because I think it's fair to have some idea to be able to say this can cost $4,000 up to $10,000. I mean, I don't know how much it costs.
I think there can be a decent estimation of staff time based on what's happened so far.
Because when you got one property you're working on or 6 properties, it looks to me like it vary quite a little bit, depending on the size of this
Of the
piece.
project, sure. How many easements are you asking us to acquire? And have you really done any
Yeah,
sort of
how do
due
we know if
diligence
they
at
really
all?
did any work?
And that's where providing them, they have to give us communication, when they communicated, how they communicated. They have to give us return receipts from where it was certified mailed. They have to provide the appraisals. They have to provide their fair offer value letter. So they're gonna have to provide all that information to us before we even accept it.
Okay.
And bring
And-
it to the board for review.
Yeah, and, knowing that they can pay more than what their appraisal is for fair market value, whereas we're not going to do that if we go down the road that they would ultimately be asking, which is for us to condemn property on their behalf.
And I will mention that Henry
And
County.
we don't wanna take people's property
Let me
necessarily.
ask a quick question. Going back to the city of Hampton thing, because obviously they're gonna have to get some easements, and not everybody's gonna agree to that. Can the city of Griffin condemn property in Spalding County, or is it gonna have to go through us for this water line?
Outside of the city limits?
Yes.
I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms that,
So they're gonna come to us asking us to condemn residents of Spalding County's property so they can sell water to a data center
I would expect so.
in Henry County?
Again, it's not their long-term good.
I understand that.
Do we have
but-
water lines on 1941?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
So if they replace those lines, they won't necessarily go back in our easement, or they will be away from the
So-
highway, because that highway could be
So
coming.
remember,
Well, they already did it to Clayton County. They did it to Clayton County a couple of years ago. They had to made them move water mains out of 1941.
so you remember the Jordan Hill Bridge relocation that we got hit with a $340,000 bill 3 years after the project closed? Well, it was at that point that I think you, Miss Gwen, made the comment, well, I think your exact words were, why the hell are we paying for a water line to relocate when we didn't need to move it? Well, when we go in right of way, we're at the mercy of the right of way owner. So our Flint River water line we could have, there was a portion of it that was in right of way, but we chose to go off-site. So yes, the 1941 is within, I'm not aware of any easements on that specific, I think there's 3 along that corridor. But if we had to relocate it ourselves due to a widening project, I would bring y'all a route that showed this new water line going off-site, where we're now protecting future boards and improvements.
I feel strongly think that if this moves ahead, they get easements off the right of way. They can't use the right of way easements because we'd be stuck with changes.
And the route that they refer to, that Garver and Falcon, Garver just showed a straight line, because in a water model, you don't have to show, a water model doesn't take into account all the bends. You just say, hey, I need to connect these 2 pieces. This is the length that you need to use.
They just draw a straight line.
And there you go. So they just went up 1941. There's other routes. We can take side roads, get off the corridor, not add any more footage, and then merge back in. So they've not requested any coordination with us.
So that would be my concern, that if somebody's gonna take the old pipes or lines down and put new ones in, when we know they're right in the state right away or whatever, it just doesn't make sense on our part for it to be put back in the ground in that spot.
And to highlight that, you remember I know I sound like a broken record, and I promise we're getting close. The standards and specifications. We've added language in regarding trust indentures, regarding private water and sewer systems, regarding any water lines that are going to be owned by the water authority that follow state routes and major thoroughfares. And the reason why I say state routes and major thoroughfares is those are the roads that would potentially be impacted with realignments, relocations. All that is very clear and itemized in these new standards. So there's no question about, oh, well, this is new to us.
Let me bring this to a close. So this committee seems absolutely determined to have the easements off to that property, correct?
Yes. But this wasn't actually about Hampton. This was about policy going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that.
I mean, I personally on condemnation, I get, it's for the public good and all that, but if it's really for the public good, I think the person being impacted should be able to be compensated properly by the public. That's my opinion about it, and I'm gonna find a hard time trying to justify voting to condemn someone's property for a data center who owns probably 95% of the planet's wealth. I just have a real hard time doing that, to be honest with you.
What is that? When you see the property taxes they pay, I don't have that problem.
Well, I think they go 10 years before they pay any of those kind of taxes.
Not here. There's no
pilot.
There's no agreement here in Spalding County.
Not in Spalding,
They
but
pay
we
out-
don't know what they got in some.
Well, these taxes for this particular thing in Hampton ain't getting paid to us. They're getting paid to
I
Henry
understand
and the
that.
city of Hampton.
Yeah, based
Okay,
on
that's
the.
our discussion for another day.
Yes.
But if I heard you right, I'll work with Stephanie to get this buttoned up to add the language regarding a service fee, and we will put this back in front of you guys.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Open Government Work Order System presentation by Parker. Parker,
What?
if you're not fully asleep
Yes,
yet.
sir.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Hello.
Good morning. I'm going to try to keep this pretty brief. Charlie, if you don't mind, put up the first slide.
He finally talks, Dick. Give him some rope.
Well, it's almost afternoon, so I know that the timing is getting there,
It ain't even
He's
lunch
funny.
yet.
Yeah, right. So go back one slide if you don't mind, Charlie. All right, so today what I want to talk to you guys about is really one software solution and my recommendation on this software solution. But what this software solution is for asset management, it's for permits, and it's also for licensing. And ultimately what you'll see later on in the presentation is that the company that I'm going to be recommending, they offer other software solutions outside of this, which could be of interest to us. Charlie, next slide. So generally, as we grow as a water authority, we want to improve our efficiency. We want to reduce potential downtime in our future plant. We want to improve our processes, but also reduce human error. So, as an overview, this is what I'm going to be presenting to you guys today: is the importance of asset management, permits, and licensing software solutions.
Okay, I got to interrupt you. When you say asset management, are you talking about where our lines and meters and all of the infrastructure is?
Yes, sir. So that's correct. So
And licensing is,
so in the future, we will be issuing permits, and we could be issuing licenses.
so it's not a license like you hold as personally.
Right. That's correct.
It's not one of those.
Yeah, no, it's
Okay.
not one of those. So, but we'll get into how this leads into our future later on in the presentation. And then another thing we're going to talk about is the software technology that have been explored. So there's different companies that we've looked at, and ultimately we've assessed those abilities of those companies and those softwares and created a scorecard from that. So I'm going to explain to you guys the scorecard and the criteria of that scorecard on how we evaluated these companies. And then the next thing is going to be our ultimate recommendation for you guys to consider, and the primary features, which is basically the core meat of the software solution that we're going to be recommending. And then also a sustainable funding approach. So basically, how are we going to pay in terms of cost recovery for actually using the software? So the importance of asset management permits and licensing software solutions. So kind of like what you're saying, Dick, is that when we're talking about asset management, we're talking about our water mains, we're talking about our valves. Ultimately, in the wastewater treatment plant, we're talking about pumps, we're talking about anything that we buy that we would consider an asset, and then also it includes our fleet. But then how are we going to take care of our assets? How are we going to take care of the water mains? How are we going to take care of our trucks? And how are we going to take care of our pumps? All those pieces of equipment, they require PMs on a regular basis to make sure that they're up to date and they're working when we need them to work. And ultimately, that's going to reduce downtime. So really, with these software solutions, we're going to have a centralized data location where we're going to have all this information. Previously, right now, we're using Excel sheets. We use GIS, which Chris has been a big help for that, like on the fire hydrant side. And sometimes we use paper for work orders. So having a digitally centralized data location for this information is going to be super critical for us to have access to this information quickly. And it's not just the staff knowing where it's at. It could be new members of our team. So the new members that join us in the future, the software solution makes it easier for them to have access to that information. The next point is improving reliability and extending asset life. Really quickly, what that is basically saying that when we have these PMs in place, we are going to be reducing the human error in remembering when the PMs have to be done. Because the software is going to automatically be set up so that if we have to check a pump once a month, it's going to automatically send a reminder to our team that's responsible for that to check that pump, maybe 2 days in advance, saying that that monthly reminder is going to be up soon.
It's kind of like a work order system too.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, these are some of the things that we're looking for, and I'll probably just go ahead and briefly go through the last three. We'll streamline the plan review process. This one's a really big, critical one, and improve the transparency for our applicants and our staff. So with the permitting and licensing solution, we're going to see that we can also apply this to plan review. So with the commercial developments, there are multiple steps that they follow from start to finish. It's about a little over 20. And if you look at all the documents that they have to fill out potentially, and all the documents that they would have to potentially look at, it's about 25. It's all on our website, and our website page that is dedicated to this plan review, it is pretty thorough, and it's all inclusive, meaning anything that the developer wants to know about our plan review process, it's on our website, and any possible form that they would need to use or even possibly submit to us because we're requesting it, it's also on our website. And even though that we do have a centralized location for this, it can be a little bit confusing to the developers if they're not keeping track of what they've already submitted. And from the staff's point of view, they also have to have a way to keep track of that, you know, and that's something that I look at, and I currently keep track in Excel, which you can imagine that Excel has a whole bunch of cells in it, and if you have 25 different documents with over 20 different steps for each plan review, in 2025, we had 23 different projects. It can start to exponentially grow. So basically, the permitting and licensing software solution provides a really good solution to that, and we'll get into that. Reducing processing time and errors through digital tracking. I think that's a pretty obvious one. And the last one is simplifying inspections and fee collection. We'll get into that. It's very seamless process. Giving an example for plan review is that in our plan review, we do assess fees at certain points, and if they have to resubmit, there could be resubmittal fees. So it's really easy to use these softwares to push that resubmittal fee in, and it will notify the developers saying, hey, this needs to be paid before the review can be completed. Okay. So the software technology that we explored, these are the four. We have OpenGov, Novatics, ViewWorks, Brightly Confirm. These were chosen just based on their specialty in water and wastewater and their ongoing support for that. We evaluated those four software solutions based on their user-friendly UI UX, which is user interface and user experience, meaning that our staff could use it without having the least amount of troubles using it. And also, what's very important is if we had a new team member join us, we want to make sure that they could even use it. The next one is easy integration with GIS. We've had a lot of communication with our internal GIS team, with Chris, and also communicating with other counties that have used these software solutions. I'll speak on their behalf in a second on what we discussed. And the third one is adaptable workflows, meaning that we want something where we can actually, we're a growing organization. We're going to have our needs change over time. And as those needs change over time, we want to be able to go into the system with the least amount of friction and edit those workflows. And so that was a big criteria that we were looking for. Next one is features and functionality. So yes, there's a lot of software solutions that exist out there that have work order systems. But what makes the software solution that we choose ultimately better than the other ones? And that depends on some other additional features and functionalities aside from the work order system, which we'll get into. The vendor credibility, that is going for how long have they been established in terms of years. And the cost of the software, which is going to be the price that they're ultimately going to charge us for it. So it might be a little hard to see, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of give you guys a brief overview. We created a scorecard from 4 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. And we evaluated the 4 companies, the 4 software solutions across all the criteria that I just explained. Next slide, Charlie. And the scorecard summary, we had OpenGov being the highest score, Novatics being the second highest, Brightly Confirmed 16, then ViewWorks 13 points. So ultimately, our recommendation is going to be with OpenGov. So they have really good GIS integration. We spoke with Glenn County, who currently use OpenGov, and we spoke to their GIS team, and they approve of it. And then we also spoke with the GIS team from OpenGov and had a meeting with them, including our GIS team, and just to make sure that there was going to be a seamless transition if we were to use OpenGov. Next, go back one, Charlie. And then the next one is features and functionality. So they do have all the features and functionality. We're actually going to get into that in a few slides. And then the OpenGov permitting and licensing solution, they do have really good adaptable workflows. There's a really good image that I will bring up here in a second that's going to show that. And they also have an easy UI UX, so that's user interface and user experience platform for the applicants and our staff. So that means when the developers put in an application and they start in the plan review process, it's very easy for them to visualize where they're at and what's the next step that's required to be submitted. And our staff can actually see that as well. Okay. This is just a brief slide just showing some of the other counties and cities that use OpenGov. I'm just going to throw some out there. County of Glenn, County of Union, Jackson County Water and Sewerage
We got it.
Authority. Yep. And then some of the other solutions that OpenGov offers would be like payroll, billing, tax and revenue collection, different things like that. So they do have other features and even a CRM that we might be looking at here soon in the future.
So we can grow into this in the future.
That's correct. Okay. Now, what makes OpenGov a really nice solution is that we're similarly to GIS, we can see where our water mains, where our assets are just in general. We can see the hydrants. Another really good feature is when we expand to the wastewater treatment plant here in the future, we can actually map out physically the locations, and you can actually see where our different pieces of equipment are at. There's kind of an image on the right-hand side. It might be hard for you guys to see, but we can do that as well.
Okay, question.
Yes, sir.
When we go to these meetings and pull up the GIS, it's got where everything is.
Mhm.
This takes it, this is the same thing you can pull up.
Right, so you're
But it-
probably asking what the differences are.
Yeah, what,
Mhm.
it's duplication unless it does something different.
Right, right. So GIS is and Chris could probably speak on this more than I can, but GIS is a really good system in geolocating, geospacing, like our different assets, where they're at. But it's not really made, it's not a software solution made for work orders, made for PMs, so preventive maintenance on our assets, and setting up systems that would create the PMs. And GIS, it does have some capabilities to do that, and I think it's expanded as a software to begin to take over some of those roles, but it really doesn't specialize in that. So the OpenGov software, that's what they specialize in. They specialize in creating the PMs, creating the workflows so that once a certain work order is completed, if someone else has to have another review of it, or if they have to do a certain task after that, those are the workflows that OpenGov allow us
So
to have.
our GIS would populate this piece of it. You don't have to do
This-
anything different.
This is
Yes.
for this software is for operations management.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right.
Good question. All right, Charlie, next slide. Thank you. Okay, so on the left, it is a little hard to see, but basically it was an example of a process flow and where you could directly integrate different additional tasks. So we could have an existing plan review process flow, but if we want to have an easy way to add another form to that plan review process, or an easy way to add another form to some other process that we have, it is very seamless. We can do that. It can also generate reports. So based on the work orders that are completed, we may be asking for certain things. It might be, let's say we wanted to trend the pressure of a fire hydrant over a month, over a year, or the past 5 years. These are things that can be tracked in the work order system, and we can actually trend it as a graph. And we just set it up, and the setup is pretty easy. We basically just go into the work order, say that we want to trend time and this particular feature in that work order, and then it will create the graph for us. So,
Or if we want to know how long we spent working on the easement acquisition, we can do that. too.
yeah, we can do that too. We can track time of doing tasks.
All right.
Yeah.
It counts whereas that does it all, right?
Yep. All right, Charlie, next slide. All right,
All right.
so this is an example photo of the permitting and licensing solution, but we're gonna probably at first use it for plan review. So it's just showing that there's different steps, and when the developer clicks into our page, they're gonna see an overview of the steps, and then it's also gonna show where they're at. So they can see what needs to be submitted. If fees need to be submitted, they can see that they need to pay the fees. And if a review is due, meaning that they've submitted everything they need, but it's in the review process, they can also see it's in the review process. And they can see our comments as well.
So if you're working on a plan review toward a project, this does not become public knowledge? You have some sort of a code to let you into your project?
Right, so good question. The developer is going to have a profile, basically an account that they can create, And when they create that account, that's how they submit the application. So they would have to sign into that account to see the information about their application.
Others can't get into that.
Yes, that's correct.
So we're gonna cut down phone calls too.
Right. Phone calls and emails, because a lot of the communication that we have for plan review is with a developer sending us their plans, a developer sending us their water and sewer availability letter application. I mean, there's a lot of communication that is done back and forth with the developer, and we have to transmit those files into our W drive, basically our local storage. But with this system, it's going to have all those files seamlessly saved, and anyone, well, you know, given they have permission from our team, they can have access to that.
Will this also simplify open records request? Retrieving the data?
Well,
or
we
something
have,
like that?
yeah, it can.
Instead of having to dig through everybody's emails and things, I mean, in time,
I mean-
will we be able to?
You're still gonna have to dig through everybody's emails, cause you gotta make sure you're not missing any communication, and there could be communication outside of this.
Okay, well, this still will be kind of centralized.
Just give you a good start and get a lot of it up front
Yes.
before you
Okay.
go digging elsewhere.
So I will say that a lot of our open records requests are very specific. If they're regarding like a test or a certain development or a water availability letter, yes, this would alleviate that, where this would be the one-stop shop we go to.
Okay.
What do we have that will this asset management create something that says this truck needs to be replaced in 4 years, this pump needs to be replaced, so that we can budget on those things as they come up?
That's correct. That's correct. So, and that's a major plus to this, is that systems like these, as long as you put good information into it, you'll get good information out, and we can set up the processes where if an oil change needs to be done, right, then we can make sure that the team is notified of that and set up that regular PM schedule. So, and that applies to any asset that we have. Next slide. All right, this is just showing a feedback system where we can send the developer a message, they can send us a message, and we'll have record of that. Okay, next. And this is just showing that this is a high-level view of what the staff would see. We can see all the different projects listed, and then there's even a progress bar there that we can see, okay, is this project almost due to completion? Okay, this project just started, or, you know, we can see about, we'll have a high-level view of all the projects, and it's really easy to see as compared to now where we use an Excel sheet and there's a lot of cells in there.
Would this benefit down the road with any industrial pretreatment program if we prop one up for that purpose?
Yes, it would. It would depend on,
Requirements,
oh, I'm sorry.
with permitting requirements for industries?
Yes, it just depends on how involved we want to be into that and at what level, but yes, it would.
I think you've already sold us on the part.
All right, I'm almost done. All right, this is just showing that you can create reports and dashboards. Next one, Charlie. Okay, so pricing.
Oh, hang on.
I know that this is a planning committee, but this is the pricing here. Basically, there's split into two. You have the software price and professional services price. Now, I don't know if you guys have the slide in front of you right now. You may not. But basically, on average, it's about, if you sum up 5 years of costs, on average, it's about $80,000 to $85,000 a year for the software. And the software includes the asset management, basically everything that we just discussed. The asset management, the permitting, and licensing software solution. Okay.
Okay, let me ask a question. So,
Oh, I thought that was
I don't know how this equipment all piping works, but say you have certain kinds of valves you have to exercise certain times. I
Yes,
assume.
sir.
Does this print out, is this time a work order that Danny would get or something like that, or how does this alert?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that's how it works. So basically, we would set up the system so that certain valves may have to be looked at a certain regular
But it goes
basis.
to one of our staff.
Yes, sir.
He gets a tablet or something with it on.
And then ultimately, based on, we could even set up reports and dashboards, just reporting out that so such a certain amount of work orders have been completed in a month, just as an example. Or like maybe 5 work orders weren't completed, right? And then we could click into the 5 and try to get a better understanding of, hey, why weren't these 5 completed? Something like that.
So it doesn't have to go to Joseph and he has to call Danny in and give him the work order, and go directly to him?
Yes.
Okay. Then I see,
Parker, on this, chart that you have here, why is it that starting in July of '27, we don't have any professional services costs?
Right, so good question. So the professional services cost is for the implementation of it. So basically just saying that OpenGov's going to help us set up the software with the existing systems and processes that we want to have set up. As an example, they'll help us set up the plan review the plan review flowchart that we have. They'll set it up in the system for us. Now after that, they will. It's not listed in here, but it's included in the price. We're going to have expert professional services, which is basically that will last until 2032, basically the last date there on the pricing. And that's going to be extended services where basically we can ask them questions about setup and they'll help us out with it.
Remote support, basically.
Right, exactly. And that's pretty critical because with the new wastewater treatment plant, we want to make sure that if we want to add anything to our existing systems, they can provide that support for us if needed.
So that looks like there's a approximate 5% increase for the software per year.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
First 5 years.
That's correct.
Do you have a
So
slide?
this proprietary software, meaning that they can it can only do what it is and it belongs to them and we can't really alter it?
So we own the data. It is their proprietary software. But that's why Parker went through and made sure that this thing, we're not looking today, we're looking long-term. The scalability of it, does it meet our future needs? And that's how it was assessed. But yes, it is a proprietary. We can't go in there and just say, hey, we want to tweak this or we want to modify that. You will pay to modify it.
That's no different from any other software.
That's right.
So, do you have a slide here that tells us if we can afford this or not?
I do. So that's the next slide. So Charlie, well, actually, it's the slide after this. But so, go back one if you don't mind. So, how we came up with a sustainable funding approach was basically quantifying these software costs, and we quantified it based on the staff labor, which means the amount of time that our staff would be in the software, and we also quantified it based on the time of software usage, meaning that we're going to be paying about $80,000 to $85,000 a year to use the software. How much time for each task that we do, and this is an estimated amount, but an estimated amount of how much time in each task are we going to be using the software. So and you'll see it here coming up, is we implemented fees for the development plan reviews because ultimately that's who's going to be using. That's why we're going to be using the softwares for new development. And then also through new meter sales, which specifically we say new meter sales because the new customers that we bring on, we're going to be using this software for the new meter sales.
But we're already charging for that, so there's no additional charge with this new software on the meter sales part. It's just managing it, right?
Well, for the new meter sales, since we're going to have staff that's actually using the software to input information about new meter sales, there would be some additional cost to that, and we'll have a very detailed slide here coming up. So when we came up with a draft of the funding approach, we took the 23 new developments that we had in 2025, and we used the number 23 as the ultimate multiplier in it. And when we look at the next slide, just keep in mind we're talking about the cost recovery that we would have in a rolling 12-month period, and not necessarily a straight 12-month period, because not every project completes in 12 months. So we have to do a rolling 12-month approach. All right, so this is really hard to see, so I printed out for you guys. I'm just going to pass this around. It'll be 2 minutes.
thank you.
Thanks, sir.
I just printed it out to make it a little easier to see, but basically what this first slide shows is that the OpenGov related software cost recovery has a certain amount, right? It's going to be about $12,000, and the OpenGov related labor cost recovery would be about 40,000, and the new water meter cost recovery would be about 8,000. So what does that mean exactly, and how is that broken down? So that's actually broken down through the fees that we'd be charging developers based on their development. So if you look down just a little bit towards the middle of the page, you'll see the residential review fee. So we have different fees, and if you look at the current column there shows the fees that we're assessing developers based on what type of development that they're proposing. So I'll just give you an example. So residential review fee, it's about $685, and that's if the residential development is from 0 to 50 lots. And so the different requirements is further to the right that you can see for each of the fees. And the residential review fee increases based on if they have higher lot sizes for their development. Now, the other fees that are also listed there, you got the commercial review fee, then you also have the water/sewer availability letter fee. You have all these other fees that we assess developers based on the requirements of their development and the information that we need to ensure that the development is engineering sound. So what I'm proposing is basically a sustainable funding approach based on how much we want to fund this software. So for instance, I created four total categories. You got our current category, then you have a 0% funding approach, meaning that we're not going to be basically increasing our fees to try to pay for the software costs. And then we have a 50% approach where 50% of the costs, of our costs from paying OpenGov is accounted for, and then the 100% cost. Now, the different columns, they represent the increases in the fees. So, for instance, the top row shows $685 current, and then I believe if it's 50%, it goes up to 900. I'm sorry, I couldn't really see it, but
989.
right. And then 100%, it goes up even higher. So,
No, 834 to 989, yeah.
yes, sir. Thank you. And so it goes higher as we go with the funding approach, and our fees would increase, some significantly, some not as much. And ultimately, it's up to us and you, the board, to have a recommendation on what type of fee schedule we want to go with.
Well, without stepping on the other committee's toes, the finance committee, this is their piece. But this does not consider money saved in efficiencies.
Mm-hmm. Right, that's correct. It doesn't consider
Theoretically,
that.
you guys are more efficient, get more work done.
So
There's an efficiency quotient here.
correct, there's an efficiency quotient, but where the efficiency is gonna be captured is, we should be able to not bring on as many people
Yeah.
on a schedule. We would actually see the efficiencies, I think, in the M&O on the retail side, the retail rate. So it's not necessarily gonna be picked up or captured in these fees, but the impact is gonna be in our budget.
Right.
Which approach is y'all's recommendation?
If you ask my recommendation, it's, I don't believe the
Top page?
ratepayers should be subsidizing new development.
Top page.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So one question that I think we need to get out in the open is, the county is using Confirm. The Water Authority, was talking about using Confirm, but when Parker and Chris started meeting with them and understanding their limitations, they sold the Water Authority a bill of bad goods. They didn't have the expertise that they said they did in horizontal construction, where they told us that they were well-versed in water utilities in the UK and Australia. Well, Parker realized real quick through comments and questions that he asked, they were using us to build that expertise. So when Chris developed these GIS processes, we wanted to get something that could utilize the hard work the team has already done, and it's not for the guys out in the field are really used to using these platforms and the way this system is operating. We didn't want to just totally uproot them. So that's when Parker and Chris kind of put their heads together and this was developed. So that was kind of the ask of the team, and this is what they came back with.
It looks good to me.
So there's not a problem with us, I mean, we don't interact with Spalding County in terms of their asset management, so it doesn't matter if they're on Confirm and we're on something else.
But I will tell you, just for your own understanding as a BOC member, the way Confirm, that one of the hangups that we had was, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's really no direct connection from Confirm to GIS. GIS has to send an updated file to Confirm for them to have the most up-to-date information. OpenGov, which Parker come to find out it was Cartograph. Well, Cartograph was a program that the Water Authority looked at early on. The county couldn't afford Cartograph, but the Water Authority could, because we were only going to be a small subset of the overall cost. But OpenGov, if we ever want to get into backflow, we can add that portal. If we ever want to get into the utility billing side, we can add that portal.
At additional cost.
At additional cost. The customer interaction, that if we want the ability to engage with our customer in an immediate, we can implement their customer management system. So it has that scalability. So Parker, I really appreciate the time that you took on this. You, man,
Not a
did a
problem.
great job.
So it looks like the cost recovery amounts here would equate to about 75% of the actual annual cost, is that correct?
That's correct.
60 of 80?
And that's on the basis that we had 23 different projects in 2025. So that cost recovery would increase if we had more one year, and it might decrease if we have less than that. On average, on a rolling 12-month average.
On average.
Yeah,
This may
so-
cost us $20,000.
On average, we're paying 25, yeah, 25.
That's right. And we used, you may say, well, how do we get the 23? Our Parker's documentation of projects has been meticulous since he got involved with the Water Authority.
Really?
There was no sense in going back and looking at historical stuff. So we said, you know what? If we just use last year as the analogy or the analogous, what does it look like? Yeah, 20 grand. That's what we'd have been.
But that's just gonna increase.
That's right.
And our fees will probably increase over time too, to be honest with you.
Yep.
I mean,
Well-
he's looking at this from a static, this year's fee schedule.
Knowing
right?
Parker,
So,
I'm with him.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I respect this opinion,
Appreciate it.
and having been through these software things on other boards and stuff, if the people that work for you screw it up, you got a mess.
Yeah, if there's no buy-in, and that's what I really tasked Parker and Chris with is, do we understand these integrations? Does it work the way that we're thinking it's going to work? Because, man, Confirm really, they bid us.
Yeah.
They bid us on this one.
Do we
So-
have something invested in that?
No, we have $0, and we will have $0 going forward because Chris and Parker, this was a way that we could, everything that we've currently done will just kind of seamlessly integrate. That's
yeah,
right.
we're sold on it.
Thanks
All
for
right.
the presentation.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Good job, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, any other business? Yes.
I got just a quick question for Stephanie. I'm probably gonna have questions at our regular board meeting when this Hampton thing comes up. We charge everybody a capital cost recovery fee now, and somebody's gonna be degrading our system. Can you just look into that and be prepared for questions I haven't thought about yet, please?
You mean as far as
Assessing it.
assessing it to another governmental entity?
So
Or-
when Wade asked me the question, I defaulted to think, okay, well, if they're paying for the asset, that keeps our system intact with giving us future access to it, I don't see how we can assess a capital recovery fee.
And I just wanna make sure that doesn't cause legal problems with us assessing capital recovery fees to other people. You see what I'm saying?
It would not, but yes, okay.
So while we're talking about that, the fact that Henry County Water Authority was on record saying that this connection could jeopardize a future connection with Henry County Water Authority, what does that mean? Because that is limiting our ability to get water from another provider in the event that we stand alone. And I will go a step further. So in 20 years, if we have a sustainable water source from another, or we're in the water business where we can actually produce water to the system, Griffin signed a contract with Hampton for 50 years. We recognize we have to honor that.
We have to buy our contract.
The only modification we can do is to the transmission fee, but in the event that that new 50-year agreement comes up for renegotiation, if we're in the water business, will they be a water authority customer or will they be a City of Griffin customer? And I know I'm not gonna be here in 50 years, so I don't.
Oh, no,
We're gonna miss you.
It is something that needs to be considered because the utility will continue beyond all of us.
That's right. So, how does, our contract
They
doesn't,
would be the customer of whoever they chose to be the customer of.
so, okay. Well, our contract doesn't state, it lets the county or the city use our water mains to sell water, but that contract doesn't state that selling water to another provider could hinder our ability for potential connections.
But it does extend our agreement per to the end date of any other wholesale customer.
Yeah, but I'm looking at it from the stance of if we needed to get if we wanted to buy water from another customer, I think this Hampton deal, that emergency connection, I think it is going to be an emergency connection. We were eventually going to have conversations to see if Henry County Water Authority, if we could partner and potentially get a water source from them. What happens if that affects our ability to do that?
To contract with another entity?
No, we weren't really contracting. We were talking about getting.
Let me say this.
Supply and us treating ourselves.
Let me say this. Would this be a good topic for the next planning meeting?
I think so.
Rather than try to wing it
But
here?
these are the questions that I think we need to fully vet. Because as soon as this happens, I mean, our contract states we're very limited on what we can and can't do. But it's looking at today, it's not looking at the water authority ever standing alone as a water provider.
Yeah, okay, well, let's
Quick
vet
question.
this next time.
The water mains that go up 41 now, the existing ones, once this new line is in, if this happens, will they stay in place or will they be abandoned?
So that's a great question. That's what I'm gonna get with Garver on. Brandon and I are,
They go off the right of way, they'll be abandoned.
We're talking about the new ones, so are they usable after that? Cause they're taps on them.
well, so we currently have two water mains on Jordan Hill Road. We have a 16 and an 8. They're on both sides of the road. The 16 actually causes water quality in the 8 to degrade. So that's a question we're gonna have to get with Garver. That's right. That's right.
Their presentation simplifies this, but this is a very complicated thing for us to answer.
And all those customers would have to have rerouted if they put in new line and close the old one.
Yes, well, part of this project would be you are connecting every tap that was off the old line on the new one if we were abandoning it. But I will clarify, Mr. Green with Thomas and Hutton said that the construction schedule that they presented is the construction schedule required by the end user. So those dates, the city of Hampton has to obligate by those dates.
Well, they're dangling a $45 million asset in front of us, which everybody's looking at the $45 million asset. And great. I mean, it would actually solve some problems for us, but it's going to create other problems for us. And we don't know what the cost of those problems are yet. So I don't know if it's worthwhile. I really don't.
I got it.
And I'm not trying to stub the city of Griffin's toe. I'm not trying anything, but I'm just looking out for us in the future. And this is, well, you get the asset out of it, but what's the cost of the problems it's going to cause?
I got that. Secretary Treasurer, comments? General Manager?
I'm good.
Member?
I'm hungry. So.
Well, I think what you've said too is where we're gonna go with this committee meeting next month is this new report and any additional information come along, start answering some of these questions.
Well, they wanted an answer today.
Yeah, they want an answer. So they asked me my timeline, and
That's
they said,
my opinion about it too.
when will the board make a decision? I said, well, the earliest decision the board could make is February, at our regular meeting, so in, 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
If the consensus is from the board or the planning committee that we have to get answers to a litany of questions, is the decision gonna be, hey,
It may get tabled.
okay, until March?
I don't see there's any way that we could really get all this information and,
Especially when the engineers are saying this is where
10%.
we begin partnering and planning with you. So
Yeah.
the engineers aren't asking
no way,
for an immediate,
we can answer those, that I can see.
especially if
Okay.
Mike Bird wants those
You agree?
hydraulic stuff.
Yeah.
I agree. We definitely gotta take the fire department into consideration for this, and it's all gonna be depend on how you present these meeting minutes to the board in 2 weeks. But I would see this getting tabled.
Yeah, I do too. I can't recommend the board that we move ahead.
I would
No,
probably
no.
make that recommendation when you present the meeting minutes.
What we'll
And
do
if
is,
you wanna put it on the agenda, we can talk about officially tabling it. I don't,
what we'll do
Well, we
is-
don't have to table anything. We just do the report and we're not ready to,
Yeah, you don't put an action item on.
we
the
don't put an
agenda
action
at
item.
all.
We report, no action item.
Okay,
you good with that?
I'm good with
Is
that.
that gonna cause you any problems with?
No, because what I'm gonna do is I'll reach out to, I'm going to ensure that the water authority meets our obligations by contract, where if they want to begin talks about this water line project that our Garver consultant sized, and we can work together on getting easements and helping alignments, we're gonna do our job.
I told the engineer that question was going to be answered about that tank.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
there's-
and if 2 weeks from now, there's a signed agreements that all this is gonna work and they agree to it to pay for it, then that's another thing, but I don't see that happening. So as far as I'm concerned,
Well, and I mean,
Is that how you wanna do it? No action item?
yeah, no action item. I don't think there's any way.
so basically,
Unless, if the agenda meeting prior to that, all of a sudden we got everything we need, that changes, but as it is now, there's no action
There's
item.
nothing to take action on at this point.
okay,
I'm also trying to protect Joseph's relationships with our other neighboring utilities. This is a,
Well,
gonna be a contentious issue.
that's
if I had to
exactly what
guess.
I went over and talked to the general manager from
Tony?
Henry County and
Yes.
said, nice to be here, like, we don't wanna kick him in the,
no, he
Right.
is, I tell you,
We don't
Henry-
wanna kick Griffin either.
No, we don't.
We gotta work with everybody, but,
that's right.
that's basically what I said, we in this together,
yeah.
and we're in the middle.
Well, I think Henry County's getting cut out of it, is basically what's happening here. Because,
And,
correct me
and
if
they
I'm
don't
wrong,
seem to mind,
Hampton wants to sell the water, Hampton wants the customer.
I got that. Henry County doesn't seem to mind being out of it, cause they got their rules, and it's this much, and you're beyond that.
That's right.
So we're in the same boat, we got these rules, if you're beyond our rules,
That's right.
Okay.
Awesome.
all right.
So it won't be an agenda item.
But I would expect a healthy discussion regarding the, we'll put together some highlights of the meeting. Because these meeting
And in
minutes
your
could get,
report, you can also talk about that and the Garver final report.
yeah, I will make sure the board gets the report, the Garver study. And
Yeah, cause I need to know
So-
what that does answer, what it doesn't.
yeah, so mind you, the original request from Hampton was, hey, let's do 750,000 gallons. Let's do 3 million. Hey, will you run the 5 million scenario? So this thing, there was an iterative modeling process. So I will get you the final version that incorporates the ultimate ask, which was 750 and 5 million.
I love when you start using words like air divas.
God, it
Tells me
was-
it's time to adjourn.
It was,
You know what Hampton purchases from Henry County, what's their daily amount?
About
well,
3 million is what
700,000
Tony-
gallons.
I thought he said it was about 3 million on peak.
Well, but he said their average,
Yeah.
Stockbridge, both Stockbridge and Hampton, this one customer would equate to
that.
those two average days, so it's roughly 700,000 gallons.
Talking to their city council people, they don't seem to be on board with this either. At
Well,
least the ones that came up and
yeah, the
talked to me
council,
afterwards.
yeah, the council seems, I got the gist, cause I was requested to attend their meeting 2 weeks ago. The council seemed to have more questions on who entered into these agreements, how did Equinex get LDPs? Why are they building a building if they don't even have a guaranteed water source? So there was a lot of questions on their end.
Well, one said, we've been left totally out of the loop. Okay, motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second. Anybody not in favor can remain.
Oh, I'm gonna get some lunch.